Manchester United's revival exposed. Real power or pure luck opens with a question that has been whispered across football debates from crowded pubs in Manchester to late-night fan streams across the world. Because after years of chaos, false dawns, expensive rebuilds, and painful inconsistency, suddenly the club looks alive again, and the energy feels different. The players look sharper, the tactics more organized, the fans louder, and the results more convincing. Yet beneath the surface, there is still skepticism, because Manchester United have teased comebacks before, only to collapse when expectations returned. So the real story begins by stepping back into the recent past, when the club was trapped in a cycle of managerial changes, bloated wages, unbalanced squads, and a loss of identity that left supporters wondering whether the giants of English football had permanently fallen behind modern superclubs. The dressing room reportedly lacked cohesion, big signings struggled to adapt, and tactical plans often looked reactive rather than visionary. But football history shows that every fallen giant eventually finds a spark, and for United, that spark appeared quietly, first through improved recruitment, smarter analytics, and a renewed emphasis on discipline in training sessions. Players began talking about accountability, younger talents were given genuine opportunities, and experienced leaders were asked to set standards rather than simply rely on reputation. The shift did not produce instant trophies, but it changed the culture, which many insiders argue is the real foundation of any successful era. Because without belief in unity, even the most fans started noticing subtle improvements. Pressing patterns looked more coordinated, midfielding under high-intensity matches. Yet critics pointed out that a few lucky wins against underperforming opponents inflated the perception of progress and questioned whether United were truly evolving or simply benefiting from favorable fixtures, injuries to rival teams, and moments of individual brilliance that masked tactical flaws. This tension between hope and skepticism became the heartbeat of the revival narrative, with every victory celebrated as proof of a new era and every poor performance cited as evidence that the old problems never disappeared. Analysts began dissecting the numbers, expected goals, defensive recoveries, progressive passes, and pressing success rates, revealing that while United were improving statistically, they were not yet dominating the league in the way legendary United sides once did, which fueled the debate further, because fans remembered eras when the club set the pace rather than chasing it. Another layer of complexity came from the psychological transformation within the squad. Players who had previously looked burdened by pressure suddenly displayed confidence, taking risks, attempting creative passes, and celebrating goals with a unity that had been missing for years. Supporters connected emotionally with this change, seeing glimpses of the fearless spirit that defined past generations. However, rival fans argued that momentum can be deceptive, pointing to teams in previous seasons who surged temporarily before crashing back to reality when injuries, fatigue, or tactical adjustments from opponents exposed weaknesses. And indeed, there were matches during the revival where United struggled to break down low blocks, conceded preventable goals, or relied heavily on late heroics, raising the question whether the team possessed genuine strategic superiority or simply rode waves of adrenaline and luck. Media narratives amplified every twist, praising the manager's philosophy one week and declaring the project fragile the next, creating an atmosphere where perception shifted faster than actual performance on the pitch. Meanwhile, the club's leadership structure also underwent subtle changes, with clearer communication between executives, recruitment staff, and coaching teams, leading to more coherent transfer strategies, marketing appeal. The arrival of certain players who fit tactical needs rather than super critics still questioned whether the team possessed enough world-class depth to sustain success across multiple competitions, particularly when fixture congestion intensified and rotation became essential. One of the most fascinating aspects of the revival was the emergence of young academy talents who injected hunger into the lineup, reminding fans of the club's historic commitment to youth development. These players played without fear, pressing aggressively and embracing big moments, which added freshness to the tactical system, but also introduced inconsistency, typical of young athletes learning under immense pressure. Tactical analysts noticed that United's approach evolved from chaotic counterattacks towards structured transitions, combining patient build-up with sudden bursts of speed, exploiting spaces behind high defensive lines. This hybrid style produced thrilling matches and surprising victories against stronger opponents, fueling belief that the revival might be rooted in genuine innovation rather than mere fortune. However, skeptics highlighted matches where opponents adjusted successfully, pressing United's defenders, forcing turnovers, and revealing lingering vulnerabilities in ball progression from the back. The midfield balance also became a recurring debate, with some praising the blend of creativity and defensive coverage, while others argued that against elite teams, United still struggled to control tempo, leading to chaotic end-to-end battles decided by moments rather than sustained dominance. Fans watching closely saw that confidence influenced performance dramatically. After a string of wins, the team played with swagger, attempting daring combinations, but after setbacks, hesitation returned, exposing the fragile psychology of a squad still rebuilding its identity. The goalkeeper's improved distribution and command of the penalty area contributed to defensive stability, while fullbacks pushed higher, providing width that stretched opponents, creating opportunities for wingers to cut inside and attack central channels. Statistics showed increased chance creation, yet finishing inconsistency occasionally turned promising performances into frustrating draws, which fueled arguments that luck played a role in strong defensive displays.